Tommy Robinson has been cleared of refusing to leave anti-Semitism march after Met Police paperwork error. So just a bit of context, back in November, Tommy Robinson went along to a march against anti-Semitism, even though the organisers said that they did not want him there. He said he was there in the capacity of a journalist. Nevertheless, the police arrested him, said that he wasn't allowed in the area. And as you may remember, we had that photo of Tommy Robinson being pepper sprayed by the police, which a lot of people may have thought was a bit harsh treatment. Now, Tommy Robinson's case has been thrown out by the courts today. This is him coming out of the court. And what was the reason why? Well, actually, the main reason is because the inspector that put in place this Section 35 order saying he needed to get out the area, he put the wrong date on it. He put 24th of November when it was meant to be 26th of November, and that made it invalid. We've got a bit of explanation on this in the article from The Independent. Tommy Robinson has been cleared of refusing to leave Westminster after he was arrested during an anti-Semitism march last November. Comes after the Met Police senior officer who signed the dispersal order admitted it may not have been lawful after he used the wrong date on the paperwork. I mean, you cannot make this stuff up. Just shows how incompetent the Met Police are. These inspectors, it's only an inspector that's allowed to do the orders because they're so serious. They couldn't even put the right date on. So he was told there is no case to be heard. So quite an easy win in that sense. Now, Roger, let's go to you first. Roger, do you think that the way that Tommy Robinson was handled by the police, him being arrested here, do you think that this was too harsh, or do you think it was fair for them to use this order on the basis that he was likely to spark chaos at this march?
Well, I think that before we go there, I mean, anybody can make a mistake, and I'm not trying to make excuses for our current style of policing, but anybody can put the wrong date down. But what really gets me is the journalist in the article you just wrote, who wrote that he was arrested during an anti-Semitism march. No, he was arrested during an anti-Semitism march.
You could have got that one.
It really conveys
right.
the wrong idea. Yeah, I suppose, it is the two-tiered policing. If they're going to let the Saturday demonstrators perform as they do for whatever it is now, 6 months, then I think that until he actually breaks the law, people like Tommy Robinson should be allowed to have their say at a march. The organizers did ask him not to come, but hey, it's a free country, so I'm not too troubled by it. And frankly, at this stage, the people arguing against anti-Semitism, frankly, it's so unreasonable what's going on. They can use all the help they can get.
Yeah, so just going back to you, Alex, Roger has said that it's a free country. If Tommy wants to come and say what he thinks, even if the organisers say he shouldn't be there, he should be allowed. But this Section 35 order that we have under the law, supposedly this order says that even if the police don't suspect Tommy to start causing violence and causing a breach of peace, as they might call it, if they think that his presence can cause someone else to start a stir and a breach of peace, then they have a right to arrest him or create an order telling him to leave the area. Do you think that that is that power shouldn't exist? Should we abolish that section?
Yeah, I mean, look, I've said this a few times before on our show, Chloe. It's a really difficult balance to find because what you said, well, there are other actors at protests that I would very, very happily get the police to say, shut that down right now. Get these people out of their sort of little crowd of people that are causing a lot of trouble, particularly when we see what's going on in these hate marches on the weekends every weekend for the last month. So that does worry me. So it's really hard under the law to find that balance where we treat people fairly, because that's all. But that being said, it is really clear to me that the police are keeping tabs on Tommy's whereabouts, and that whenever he does pop up, they are very quick to arrest him because He can't even attend a protest. He can't even attend a St. George's Day celebration without being arrested. And are there grounds for that? Are there grounds to say wherever Tommy Robinson goes, he creates trouble? I don't think that's fair. I think they are making assumptions. And if they made those same assumptions about the hate marches, well, they wouldn't be going ahead anymore. So we are seeing that two-tier policing system say, well, it's okay to arrest Tommy Robinson and get his, shut down his freedom of speech because he's, white, English, and maybe controversial. But when, we had the Eid riots, well, they weren't shut down. The police just stood there and took missiles being thrown at them.
Absolutely. So we've had clips from these. I don't know if you've seen these, Roger, but we had these riots break out during the Eid celebrations where rubbish bags were being thrown at police officers, and the police just sort of stood there and didn't really do anything. Meanwhile, when it comes to Tommy Robinson, or we'll go on to shortly after this what happened on St. George's Day, the police seemed to go in all guns blazing. We saw Tommy Robinson be arrested for going out to brunch with his daughter. Apparently him being in London is dangerous enough as it is, which, I know that Tommy Robinson has past criminal convictions and he's been in prison and he's got controversial views, but I don't think that Tommy Robinson being in London going out for lunch with his daughter warrants an arrest. I think it's absolutely out of proportion. Let's have a look before we move on to a couple of comments. They are coming in like crazy. It's hard to keep up. Keep them coming in though, people. We love to hear from you. So let's have a look. So let's add to broadcast if I can figure out how to add these comments in. So we've got Michael John Dennis says the Met Police are one-sided and are woke. I would probably agree with that. We've got, let's see these comments if I can actually keep them in order. We've got Ian says it is obvious that the police are harassing Tommy. People need to hear held to account for this through the courts. Okay, so that's an interesting one. Roger, you've got a bit of a legal background, haven't you? Do you think it is possible for the officers that wrongly did this to Tommy Robinson to themselves face justice?
Sure, absolutely. If they've broken the law, yeah. I mean, and they're in some respects legally they're held to a higher standard than ordinary citizens because of the training that they're given and because of the responsibility and the obligations that are bestowed upon them in dealing with the public. So they're held to a higher standard. But I mean, the whole thing is just askew. It's madness. It's Alice in Wonderland. It's turned upside down. I blame Rishi Sunak, James Cleverly, Sadiq Khan, and Sir Mark Rowley, and I'd very much like to see the back of all of them as fast as possible. The way they are handling this is simply appalling. I mean, this Gideon Falter cannot walk across the street because of the trouble that might be caused by a demonstration that goes on every week. Now, it goes on every week because it's peaceful. Well, if it was peaceful, then why would there be an issue about anybody walking across the street? It's just insane.
Have you got what it takes to be a reasoned presenter? Well, send us a short clip of yourself to join@reasoned.uk and we might be seeing you on this very channel very soon indeed.